Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes, and I'd love to welcome here Jeff Niebuhr and Heath Cobb. I'm going to let them explain the joke, but I'm calling the band Hecojeni. We're going to get to know these two guys and a little bit about the band. Hey, let's kick this off right.
Hey,
Jeff.
Kyle. Thanks for having us, buddy.
Oh, man, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to have you. Well, Heath, you spoke up first, so tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, just a quick thumbnail. I met Jeff in Auburn at college as a freshman, and he formed a band that we had back in the day. I almost hate to say, but it was 30 years ago.
Yep.
The band actually took off. It was pretty. I won't say big, but it was big enough where it was a living for us. And Jeff and I have been friends ever since. I kind of had a weird career path after school and went up the Marine Corps and in the Middle East, and then I kind of went off the grid, and Jeff found me recently and talked me into moving to Greenville, where he's got a studio, and I came up here a year ago, almost exactly to the day, and fell in love with what he's built up here, and we started writing again. And you know how music is, it's so many things to so many people, and for me it was therapy, and it was also passion, and we got back into it, and we've written some really cool stuff. A few of them I'm really excited about, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm up here with Jeff writing music and playing, so it's been good for me.
All right, how about you, Jeff?
Yep. So in the illustrious comments of the Blues Brothers after the band, everybody took straight jobs. So I took straight job in the corporate America. I'm in IT, raised a family. I always dabbled, always played, always kind of had the equipment with me and playing. Forced it on my kids. They're all grown now. Hopefully they see the none of them really picked it up. Every once in a while I'll ask them, did you start a band yet? No. Like, you need to start a band. You're in college. You start a band. So they all play a little bit. I struggle, though, a little bit to find writing partners. I write. I'm not a great guitarist. I can't sit there and here's 100 songs on the radio and play them. So part of that, I had a preacher one time. He's like, and my advice to young preachers is you preach from your own inadequacies. You'll never run out of content, which I think is a great line. And so my own inadequacy as a guitarist is I don't find a lot of pleasure and joy playing other people's music. So when I sit down with a guitar, I just fool around with it till I get a little riff I like, and then I'll record it. So I had hundreds of riffs, chord progressions, but I don't really do much with them because I don't really write melodies. I wrote some melodies back in the day, but all they really did was follow the bass line. And it's like
Sex Pistols
or Joy Division. It's like that's cool for one or two songs, but maybe not a whole album. So anyhow, reconnecting with Heath. He's the melody maker, and so we have a good symbiotic relationship. So we're writing new stuff, and it's pretty exciting. Pretty excited about it.
So what kind of music do you play?
Yeah, it's starts out largely guitar riff based. Our old band was 2 guitars, bass, drum, singer. Probably in the REM, driving and crying kind of genre, college music, pre-Nirvana, right? It's like our album, you listen that was before Nirvana. And then, Nirvana kind of washed a lot of the ways, fine. So kind of riff-based, oblique lyrics. With technology, it's interesting. You don't need a whole lot to have a studio. Back in the day, we recorded, it was like all our money, right? All our money went into 15, 20 hours of studio time and 15, 20 hours mixing time. But now it's like this weird luxury of, oh, you want another, 7 channels for, African percussion? Sure, add all that in there. Let's see what sounds good, and then let's peel it back and add some more. So some of the stuff even has left, I think, straight guitar, and it's a little more electronic than anything we've done in the past. So like Heath kind of says, like, let the song, run where it wants to go. And so I enjoy the recording process, the writing process. I think it's really fun and interesting, and it's good to create.
But back to your question, Kyle. You said, what kind of music, is it and what's it like? It's really it's different than what I listen to. It really creates itself. I mean, we start off with a song, like Jeff said, he creates a riff, and then we kind of just develop it from there. But some of them have turned out, just really, like, I consider myself a metalhead, and I like Tool, and I every part of me wants to get on stage and just part everybody's hair down the middle with some just straight up dirty rock. And our music, it isn't really turning out like that. I mean, it's like Jeff said, it's got some electronic components to it. It's got kind of like Gorillaz type of vibe to it. So it's interesting to let the music develop on its own, and it's almost like it creates itself. And we've got a couple of songs I'm really excited about. I don't know what you define as a good song. Everybody's kind of got their own definition of what they consider a good song. Somebody who's probably a student of music looks for, complicated notes. And for me, what makes a great song is something that you hear and you find yourself singing in the shower or singing in the car. You can't get it out of your head. And we've got a couple in particular that I'm really excited about releasing into the ether, into the universe. Unfortunately, for if it were just me, I would never release them. I'm never there. Jeff is the exact opposite. He's very comfortable in his skin. He can put everything out there. So it's a good combination between the two of us because stuff winds up actually being out there. So it's pretty interesting. I'm excited about a couple of them, and I want to see one of them make it considerably. I think one of them will actually. I almost hate to name it, point to the fence, but I'm pretty excited about it.
For me, a good song, like you said, something you could sing in the shower or driving down the road. I like a band that you can't really define who they are. Like, I know Led Zeppelin has always kind of been put in that heavy metal category, but how many heavy metal songs have you really heard from Led Zeppelin? Just maybe a handful,
Yeah.
You got a lot of bluesy stuff and even some poppy kind of stuff every once in a while, but you can't put them in a box. The Who, same way, can't put them in a box. The Beatles were the ultimate pop band, but sometimes you'd hear something real poppy or you'd hear something heavy like Helter Skelter and any band that you can still listen to them and the music right off the bat and say, oh, I know who that is, but they redefine themselves, it seems like, from album to album to album.
Yep.
That's the kind of music I really, really love. But it also depends on what mood I'm in. One day I might want to listen to The Circle and sing to Red Rubber Ball, and the next day I want to jam out with Iron Maiden. You just wherever the mood takes me. But earlier I mentioned there was a little joke about your name of the band, so I'm going to let you explain that.
Yep. So we connected. Heath was living down at the ocean and running a donut shop, which is hilarious and should always be mentioned. Heath would text me at 4 a.m. Gotta go make the effing donuts, just like the damn commercial.
That Dunkin' commercial, I was living it.
And so we recorded one song there, and then Heath then lived on a boat for 2 years. He didn't tell you that. So, we were texting, let's get together, and then the next day, no response. Took a year or so. Anyhow, so we recorded that one song in Port Royal, and I wanted to release it, as I do everything. So I released it and called ourselves I took the first two letters from his first and second name, first two letters from my first, second name, moved them around, and came up with Hecojeni. And I pronounce it Hecojeni.
And I say Hecojeni.
But we had a little bit of a marketing thing. We talked to people on Fiverr, and we're like, can you go out on the street wherever you live, just show them this word and ask them to pronounce it. And it took a while to communicate what we really wanted. But we had, I don't know, we probably had 50, 100 people that did it.
Schools in India,
And
Japan,
Bulgaria, and South America. And it's hilarious that you can do that in this day and age for peanuts, right? You know,
Right.
pay somebody $10 and they'll go out and get 10 people to say it, and it's worth it for them. It was cool for us. So every little city pronounced it a little bit differently, but within that city, they almost always pronounce it the same. So it was really cool.
I like it. Jeff mentioned it sounds like an Eastern philosophy, and and there's so much going on right now in the world, almost an awakening. I think in so many levels that I kind of like to be tagged like that. Anyway, a lot of the music we're writing is, talking about the flow and consciousness and a lot of what's transcending around us. It's exciting times.
I was playing with another couple of people here in Greenville while he was on the boat, and we had the longest text chain of trying to name our band. And it's just like Spinal Tap. They're all terrible. And then you go look and they're all taken, right? It's like 12 artists name that in Spotify. You can't get the web page. So, Hecojeni, it's pretty unique. So I like it.
What keeps you coming back to try to make it in the music business? I mean, number one, you've probably been kicked in the teeth a few times. And
Yep.
number
Got some more
two,
stories, I'll tell you.
right? Number two, in this world where everything is being streamed and even some of the top named artists in the world have a hard time making money in streaming.
Yep. Yep.
What keeps you from getting discouraged?
I think I think a little bit separating finance from the deal. We both have income outside of music, and that affords a luxury maybe we didn't have when we were 19, 20, 21. I think, I enjoy the process. Here's a cool chord progression, or here's a riff nobody's written before. And then Heath has this crazy ability to put a melody on it. I think that's really the genesis of some of the uniqueness is, I don't sit there and write GCD chords, right? That's boring.
That's
Write
crazy
something
stuff.
different.
It
And
makes me angry
Heath
sometimes.
is angry at first. Hey, there's no melody to that. And then after a little bit,
Doesn't follow a pattern.
here's a melody.
Yeah.
So I think just that creative outlet, getting it, progressing it down the line. It's almost like a factory.
I get really excited when we come up with a good song. I mean, like really excited about it, obsessed over it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Merry Go, we've got a song that's in development. I don't want Jeff to put it out there yet, but it probably already is. But
It is.
it is a good song. We haven't finished it yet, but it's got all the components.
Catchy.
It's catchy, and I get fired up thinking about it. Like right now, I get a little bit of chills of where I think it's going. So that for me, that's what keeps me motivated is the possibility of, in college, the band was the Chill Bumps, and we had an agent in Nashville. The local radios, I say local radio station, Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, had a big radio station, Rock 103, that had a DJ that loved us. And we had a couple of songs that we would go play in front of crowds that people would sing and they would request. And but at the time, I didn't really realize the importance of having this DJ with a huge listening audience that liked us so much. And we were cocky little 19, 20-year-old kids, and we just so a lot of what
He wanted us to play at this small club, and we only
we
made
should have totally done
like
it. This is
$80. We're like, we're making $1,000
We're not
a gig.
playing there.
We're not playing there.
Yeah.
Like,
So much I would have done differently, could I go back and kind of massage that deal a little bit. But anyway, learned a lot. That experience was great. It's 5 years. That was completely how I financed, getting food at school and paying the rent. And we had times where we could play 4 or 5 nights a week if we wanted to. But like Jeff said, everybody graduated and got real jobs again. So the fact that we're able to come back and do this again right now at our age is really special. And I can really I'm not taking it for granted because not many people get this chance again. I mean, the fact that it is. I'm divorced. I've got a daughter about to start college, but otherwise, I'm pretty dedicated to doing this. This is kind of number one for me right now. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
We live in a strange day and age where we have a lot of pluses and minuses when it comes to music, because you can have a studio in your house for a lot less than what you used to have to.
Yep.
And you can get your music out there without even having to go through agents and record companies and all that kind of stuff. Make up your own label, and you've got all this technology at your fingertips to create great music. But at the same time, you've got a million people out there trying to do the same thing that you're doing.
Yep. Yep.
And let's face it, there's a lot of folks out there that are very creative and very talented.
Totally.
But there's also those that, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can create something out of thin air. AI is out there. I think some of the music has no soul to it, but then there are some that really have that something that you gravitate to.
Yep, cuts through.
Yeah, and I've talked to bands who back in the 80s were huge, Quiet Riot and those kind of guys, and they were making millions and millions of dollars, and now they're in their 70s, and if they're not on tour, they're not feeding their families per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not making it in streaming, and
nope.
Who buys records anymore?
Yep.
And if you do, look how much records are.
Yeah.
I love
I saw a thing,
albums.
a blog post, like musicians are really just incredibly complicated t-shirt salesmen.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, gotta do that merch.
How many of your favorite bands who are still making music, if you don't just happen to run across them, you even know they have a new album out?
We just went and saw Kevin Kenny play. Driving Crime's touring again. I think to your point, maybe that's a little bit about what they have going on. He's suddenly out there a lot. Like we saw him a month or two ago. And Jeff, oddly enough, bought a vinyl. Vinyl album.
Sure, yeah.
Old school right here. I love him.
Yeah. Gotta support him.
Gotta support him. That's right.
And the downfall with streaming is, even though it's at your fingertips, hey, I want to listen to, say, Led Zeppelin right now. I take out my phone and there it is.
Yeah.
But the sound quality is not there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care about the little crackles and pops that you hear in a record. You still hear every single instrument. CDs aren't even as great as a record as far as hearing the instruments. Hey, okay, so maybe the song doesn't skip if I turn on streaming.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't hear what the artist meant for you to hear.
Well, and people don't, listen to albums, right? That's what we grew up on, and really, the next step of that was making your own mixtape. It's like there was like an art to that too. Of I'm going to make this for my friends or my new girlfriend or just for me. I got a road trip coming up. I need to make 5 mixtapes. Will get me there and back. And picking songs from different albums and putting them in some sort of coherent order, thematically, tonally. You don't do that, man. I didn't know people really make playlists. They just go find a playlist and run with it. So I remember, getting the vinyl, putting it down, and me and my buddy sitting there listening to it. I remember the first time I did that too was Rock the Casbah by The Clash.
Oh yeah.
And we we had heard Clash songs on the radio, but I don't think we listened to a whole album until that album came out. And I remember getting to the backside of that album, I'm like, man, this is not punk rock. This is like alternative, different. This is totally different than, Rock the Cat Bob. Should I stay or should I go?
Or those days when you would sit and you'd listen for your song to come on the radio, try to catch that first note, hit the record, and pray that the DJ didn't talk. And
Yep. I did that. I requested Joan Jett, I Love Rock and Roll on a local radio station, and then recorded everything from when I hung up to, 40 minutes later, he started. Get to a song, I'd stop it, and I'd rewind it, press record again. It's like so stupid. But I had it.
where can folks find your music?
I think starting at Hecojeni.com, Hecojeni, Hecojeni.com. There's a link there to SoundCloud. We have songs out. Link there to the Christmas song we released was kind of fun this past year. And we update it reasonably often as new songs come out.
You guys do Bandcamp or anything like that?
No, we're trying just right now on SoundCloud. We'll have a release strategy that takes it to Spotify, Bandcamp, YouTube, Amazon, all that, iTunes. So that's the tension between Heath and I. When is the moment
I've
we
got to
press
go police
boom?
this now and make sure. Because Jeff will put stuff on there we've just had one take on it. And he's okay. He's that comfortable in his skin. I envy that.
And our bane of society, social media, do you guys, do y'all have some accounts out there?
We dipped our toes in it. We will have a full force on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. That's queued up, ready for us to come together. So yeah, press play.
This summer is going to be a big focus for the music. This last year has been kind of getting together, getting the beaks wet again, writing again a little bit, but we've got the studio set up almost exactly like we like it. My living situation now that I've committed to Greenville has come into a little bit of stability. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to stay here or not. Jeff mentioned I lived on a boat. When I say I went off the grid, I went a mile offshore on a 50-foot marine trader yacht. It wasn't great. It was a floating box, actually. For 2 years. I was just going to do it for 2 weeks, and I wound up staying out kind of away from everything for 2 years, and it was just wonderful experience for me. But to be back here and then to kind of get back into society and Jeff having the studio and I've fallen back in love with it again. So this summer, if everybody can hold off on looking at the music yet, I will be happy with it by August.
Hey, it's great to have that little bit of button heads because it makes the music even better.
Yeah,
absolutely. Jeff and I have always, like I said, we worked together for 30 plus years, and it's very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have this resource and to have somebody I work so well with. We don't always get along, but like back in the day, the old band, I always set up my guitar next to Jeff. I'm scared of crowds, and Jeff was always kind of my buffer. And some things never change. So I'm very grateful.
We compete to get closer to the drummer. So whoever got their rig there first, be next to the drummer.
Yeah, because nobody want to be on the outside.
Yeah.
I hear you, man. Well, I'm going to make it easy for folks, and I will put all your links in the description.
That's great. Awesome.
Jeff, Heath, thank you guys for coming on the show today. I really, really appreciate it.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to connect with you.
Thank you. And also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. And until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network